It has been a couple of weeks of dark and stormy weather. It's been cloudy for like 2 weeks straight. And I'm actually, for the very first time in my life, excited for summer and like hot, summery weather. Who am I? And I want some clothes to match. However, for sustainability reasons and for wallet reasons, because as an American who can afford anything anymore, I have a closet full of clothes. Too many clothes for one person, in fact, that I just look at and hate. It's about 50%. The stuff that I've made I really love, but the stuff that I bought, I don't know who bought that. That wasn't me. And so we're waiting for the phone call to end. As someone who very obviously had a shopaholic problem earlier in my life, the way to fill that gap and scratch that itch is to flip my own clothing into new clothes, and then it feels like I have brand new clothes. Yay! So here's another episode of Fixing My Ugly Clothes, late spring / early summer edition. Let's go. First up is the vest. Yes, I have another vest I need to work on, but the last one went so well, I wanted to tackle this one, which has a couple of problems. Once again, this is ill-fitting everywhere else except for the bust, and something has happened, as you might be able to tell. Something inside this vest has either disintegrated or like shrunk, and there's these wrinkles that are now permanent. I can't iron them out, so instead, we're gonna cover them and hope for the best. After placing all these appliques in a way that somewhat covered the wrinkles, I pinned it down the best I could and started sewing over every nook and cranny, which takes forever and requires a lot of patience, which I don't have. I had these white flower appliques that I didn't use in a project a long time ago, but I knew they wouldn't be enough to cover the entire problem area, so I ordered these pink flowers and cut them up in order to arrange them in a more bouquet-inspired arrangement. As I went along, I tried to tuck those wrinkles under the applique in order to hide them as best I could. After that very long step was completed, I tried on the vest inside out to fix some of the fit issues. Now I could totally put in little darts or cut into the arm size to make this a perfect fit, but since this vest was already very imperfect, why change that? So I'm just gonna fix the most glaring fit issues and take it in the sides, above and below the bust, since the bust doesn't have to change. And then I just chopped off those side seams and finished that edge with a zigzag stitch. You know, the best thing about this vest is that it was almost a lost cause anyway, so I didn't feel the need to be precious about any of the fixes. I just did my best with what I could. Not that I ever try to be perfect with any of my sewing projects, but with this one, I felt completely free to just do the laziest and easiest fixes because who knew if I could actually fix it? Honestly, this did turn out pretty great, but you'll have to wait to see that at the end. So let's move on to the next project. So next up is this t-shirt that I had some big experimentation plans for. I bought this shirt in several colors a few years ago, but it's that t-shirt material that I just kind of hate, where there's no like substance to it and it pills really easily. But I've been wanting some graphic baby tees, so I thought, why not try to turn this shirt into one of those until maybe I can like thrift or make myself one. So first off, I took in the sides because this t-shirt was way too big for a baby tee. On the sewing machine, I used a segmented zigzag stitch. If you want to know a bit more about that, I talk about that more in my last upcycling video, and I made the fit a bit tighter. And then I cut it off shorter to a better length, but I didn't want that raw bottom hem, so I just flipped it inside for a little bit of a more finished hem look. After I saw these two videos about painting with acrylic markers on fabric, I wanted to try it so badly, but I did not know if this process would work on stretch fabric. But I knew I had to give it a try. I was originally going to go with the Sharpie acrylic markers, but I liked how Arctic's markers had a lot more variety, so I went with those instead. This is not sponsored, by the way, but I might put an affiliate link down below if you would like to try these for yourself. I tested these on paper first and loved them, but the second I started on the fabric, I knew this probably wouldn't work as well as I'd hoped. It wasn't saturating as much as I'd like, and the marker tip would stick to the fabric a bit. But I do love my design, which is a cute little deer. I mean, sometimes it looks more like a dog-deer hybrid if it existed in like the Avatar: The Last Airbender universe, but it's still cute. I would wait for each layer to dry and trace over it again, and I did that about 6 times until I couldn't stand to do it anymore and I was tired of it. I tried heat setting it. I didn't have any doubt that this would work because it worked on everyone else's fabric, but alas, the stretchy fabric just did not want to take this paint, as you can see when I spritzed a little bit of water on it. So this was a bit of a Sisyphean effort for nothing, but let's take our cooking break and I'll show you the final and largest project after that. I was given this shirt dress secondhand, and I do not typically like shirt dresses on me, but I love the fabric pattern, and the fabric itself is so soft and honestly wrinkle resistant, which is a huge plus for me. So I'm going to turn this into a matching set, and we'll start with making a separate pair of shorts for the skirt. I'm using one of my favorite patterns in the world, the sunrise skirt pattern, because it is a full skirt with shorts underneath, but we really only need the shorts pattern for this project in particular. And I love the fit of the shorts on me in this pattern as well. Since I knew I wouldn't have enough fabric for a skirt and shorts, I have this thrifted, like athletic, stretchy fabric because there were a couple of athleisure pieces I wanted to make myself, but we can use a bit of it for this project since it is the right color. I added a couple of inches to the bottom because I thought I remembered liking them a little bit longer. I did not end up needing this at all, but I was going in a bit blind, so oh well. First step with the shirt dress is to take out the pockets, unfortunately, because they are in a weird spot for me, so out they go, and I stitched up the sides again without them. I knew I intended to add pockets to the shorts, so I wasn't too worried about this. Then it was time to put the shorts together. Now something weird happened here. I was stitching along on my stretch zigzag stitch when the thread broke. And then it broke again and again. I was terrified that my machine had broken in some way, but I tried the same stitch on my other fabric and it was fine. So I discovered that something about this stretch fabric was making my thread break. I don't quite understand why this is happening. Do I need to buy thicker thread when working with this kind of stretch fabric? Is it partly why people use a stretch needle maybe? I don't know. Tell me if you have any tips below. I need them. This ended up taking 5 times longer than it should have because I had to stop every 3 inches and rethread the needle. I was trying to be good and add pockets because with the bottoms I've made so far, if I don't add pockets, I tend to wear it a lot less. But honestly, I should have skipped this. This added several steps, and if I'd left it out, I might have been able to save my sanity. At one point, I also hemmed the shorts, which I should not have done at this point because I didn't know how long I wanted the skirt to be, so I was just torturing myself for fun here, apparently. One of the last steps was adding the elastic waist, which once again, all I had to do was tuck the raw edge under once and sew. I do kind of love that about stretch fabric for this reason. It's so much easier than going in and having to iron under your raw edges everywhere. Then it was time to cut up the shirt dress, so I picked a length for the top that I knew would be too long, but I wanted to have some options, as well as a bit of a longer short sleeve. It's much easier to cut off more fabric later than to cut it too short the first time. I was thinking of making this a boat neck kind of neckline, but after trimming off the collar, I actually liked the way this looked, so I kept it. Then it was time to work on the skirt. I knew I needed to cut off a few inches from the top, and I kept that back a bit longer than the front to make room for the booty. And because I'm using the bottom of the skirt, I don't have to hem this. And then I made a ghastly mistake. So I was cutting off a couple more inches off the top, and as I was trimming the back, I accidentally cut into the front of the fabric. So now the top will be too short, and that was very frustrating. So I took a break and went back to the skirt. I wanted the button-up section to be off-center over one leg, and I wanted it to pull slightly away to show the shorts underneath. So I pinned up the sides and sewed those new side seams. I have this wide single fold bias tape, and I thought that would be perfect for the waistband section instead of needing facings. Honestly, I used to hate bias tape, and it's become one of my favorite sewing tools because it is so useful, especially for things like thrift flipping and upcycling, because you don't always have enough fabric for things like facings and such. And that's where bias tape can always save the day. Then I attached the skirt to the shorts with a small row of stitching at center back. Then it was time to attack the shirt. The new length isn't too terrible except at the sides, so I evened out that line, and while I brainstormed, I hemmed the sleeves and then added some of the smaller bias tape I use in every project because I have so much of it to finish off the neckline. I then noticed this leftover lace from my bloomers I made a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it would be a great way to gain back some of that length at the hem. So after finishing off the bottom edge, I added this to the bottom. This is another reason I love upcycling. It's a chance to use my leftovers from other projects. The applique, button, bias tape, and this lace were all from previous projects that either didn't get used at all or weren't used completely, and it feels so much less wasteful when I can put them into these projects. And with that, it's time to show you all the final results. Okay, I'm actually pretty ecstatic about how this turned out. Sure, you can still see a couple of the wrinkles and the fit isn't perfect, but I think this turned out so cute. It is so full of personality now, and it's the perfect little suit set for this time of year with the flowers and the colors. But this being something that I wasn't even sure if it was salvageable, I am over the moon about how cute I think this is now. Someone needs to invite me to a summer wedding. Actually, don't. I'm not really a wedding person. I might go in at a later time and futz around with the fit at a later date, but for now, I'm pretty happy. I would consider this one to be the fail of the video, if only because I'm pretty sure this drawing isn't going to make it through the wash. The fit is better, but the fabric is that clingy fabric that I don't like, so there's just no fixing that. I might take the other colors that I have in a little bit and crop them, and I'll see if putting this shirt through the dryer first might heat set it a little bit better before washing it, but I do not have high hopes. I would love to try these acrylic pens on sturdier fabrics. I'm actually so excited for that in the future. Okay, so there's a part of me that really likes this set. I feel a little bit like Lindsay Lohan in Parent Trap, which was my goal, but I don't know if I'm in love with the top. Would I love it more if I hadn't accidentally cut into it? Maybe, but I waffle between thinking this set is adorable and feeling like I'm wearing actual kids' clothes. However, I am in love with this skirt. It is one of my favorite things I've made in a while. It is so incredibly comfortable with the stretch shorts, and the off-center button-down slit is an adorable addition. This will be a summer staple for me, and I went ahead and styled it a bit more like I probably would if I were to wear it more like every day, and I think this is so cute. This feels like a really unique piece, but also something so wearable that I can style with a lot of other pieces in my closet. But that's gonna be it for me this week. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe so that you'll see more from me, and then also liking and commenting really help me out, and I hope to see you back here next time. Bye! Ow!